sport fans watching around the world. This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let's get straight into the episode.
Yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun.
Before we start, I need to say something to you that I say to everyone that comes on, but I would not be saying it if it wasn't true. You're sitting here because I find you interesting. That's because you are an interesting person. I want to learn more about you, how you think, and how you feel. And I love to have the opportunity to share this experience. So I really appreciate you coming on. I thank you for sitting down. And ladies and gentlemen listening, if I said my intro for 10,000 hours, I still don't think it would be long enough because there isn't enough words in all the languages combined to express my feelings towards my guest today. I think everyone listening can feel the realness when I say that my guest is the most important person in my life because my guest is my mum. I think that if I was to try and sum it up in a very short sentence, I would say that her friends would call her one of a kind, her family members would say she is unreplaceable, and I can sit here comfortably and say that she is the best mum in the entire world. She is mum, she is mama, she is ma, she is Mama Dox, and for everyone, this is Anne-Marie Doxey.
Thank you, Jake. Nice to be here.
Yeah, good.
That's so sweet.
Okay, good. Oh, fuck, I didn't know if I'd get it first try.
I hope I live up to the hype.
Yeah. All right, now I feel a bit better because now's the point where everything can just, it doesn't matter what gets said, all right? It doesn't matter what gets said. I don't know how I do want to start it, but because I was thinking about it before when we were outside talking, and I think I've never asked anyone this question to get it started, but what's your first memory, if I could say, think about being a kid? What's your first memory?
Probably breaking my arm.
Traumatizing?
I think I don't remember the trauma of it. I just remember the incident. We had a banana tree in our backyard. And we moved, I was born in Hornsby and we moved to Dubbo when I was 3-4 years old. And we lived in this rental place at West Dubbo on a huge acreage block next to a doctor and everything. And in the backyard we had a banana tree that was just cut to a stump. Yeah. So it was about knee high now to an adult.
So a banana stump.
It was a banana stump.
Yeah.
And me and Robert used to take turns jumping off it, climbing up on it, jumping off.
Yeah.
Wow, this is fun. But
the good old days. Yeah, before the internet and everything was so much better.
This is how we entertained ourselves. Yeah. So I jumped off, landed on my arm and broke it.
Oh.
So I just remember the playing of it. I don't remember the pain or anything. I just remember playing on that stump. That's probably my earliest memory.
Yeah. And did you have to take a horse and wagon to the nearest medical practice?
No, we had a real hospital and a real car.
Okay, so
a motorised car.
Okay, cool. So that's in Hornsby or when you moved to Dubbo? In Dubbo.
Yeah, I have no memory of Hornsby at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think my first memory, I think about it, I don't remember. All I remember is the thinking. I don't remember what was happening, but I remember my first time processing thinking. Like, it was really weird, but we were in some house. Like, I don't know what house, but I think it was Byrne's birthday right after Christmas. She would have had to have been 1 or 2, and I would have had to have been, I don't know, how much age is there? 3 years?
2 years older than
2 years older, so I would have been 4 or 5. And she got like a kid's chef thing. Do you ever remember her getting like a kitchen thing from when she was a baby?
Oh, not really.
I kind of remember that, but I remember thinking in my head like, oh, she's too young to understand this, and I'm old enough to know what this is. Like, I remember figuring that out. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking more than her because I'm older than her. You know? I remember thinking that.
I can play with that toy, and like, she can't.
This is kind of like mine because she doesn't even know it.
Yeah. And that's where it all begins.
Yeah.
The brother-sister torment.
Yeah. So it's weird. That's my first memory. But yeah, I guess I got lucky. I didn't break any bones until I was like 15 or something.
I think you were about 14. I think you were 14. Yeah.
That was a fucking shit night too.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
I had Kyle and Bernie at swimming.
Yeah.
And I was race secretary, so I was busy all night doing that. And then we pulled up at home in our old place at McGrath's Hill, and my phone was in the boot, and like I had the shits because the kids took it out of my bag, whichever one it was, put it in my other bag in the boot because I always have it next to me. And so there was ringing. So I had the shits because I couldn't get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And or nobody could answer it while I was driving. Mm-hmm. So when we pulled up at home, I went to the boot, pulled out my phone, and I had 35 missed calls.
Jesus.
And like 6 or 8 messages. Like
Jesus.
And I'm like, what the hell? It's only been 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so like I sort of listened to a message or something, and it would have been like a mixture between Mrs. Painter and other people. And I heard
I think it was Mr. Painter actually as well. Mr. Painter, yeah.
And everyone was trying to get me, people from the church and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jake's broke his arm. He's down at Hawkesbury Hospital. Like, all right, back in the car, kids.
Yeah, I know. That was mad. Oh, man, that was the shittest experience ever. Remember they sent us home after what did we wait till?
We waited
1 o'clock in the morning.
We waited for hours, and then they don't have a surgeon there that can fix broken arms.
Yeah, so they just come back on Monday.
Go to Penrith on Monday.
But my arm's broken.
It's Friday.
Yeah, that was the worst.
And then when you had to go in for surgery, you had to wait all day, and you had to fast from midnight because you can't eat before surgery.
Yeah.
So you had to fast from midnight, and then you were just getting shittier and shittier and shittier. Yeah. The worst thing for me was putting up with a teenager who couldn't eat. And then finally they're like, and I'm like, can't we just go home? We'll come back tomorrow. And they're like, we still think we'll do it today.
Yeah.
And then finally at about 8:30 or 9:30 at night, they finally took you in for surgery.
Yeah. I remember the worst part for me was having you and Sharon McGinnon eating, watching you guys eat kebabs. I'm like, I'm so hungry.
I know. We probably shouldn't have eaten in front of you, but
thinking, oh man,
that wasn't our fault.
I don't even care about my broken arm. I just need to eat. I'm gonna die. I've already had my broken arm for 3 days. Yeah, that was the worst. Jesus.
Yeah.
So you have no memory at all in Hornsby? None at all? I didn't even know you were born in Hornsby. I thought you were born in Dubbo.
No.
I think the beauty of the podcast. The beauty of the podcast. Yeah.
I was born in Hornsby Hospital, and Mum and Dad had a house at Hornsby itself. So, yeah, Robert and I were born there. Mm-hmm. Jamie was born in Manly.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know Jamie was younger.
Jamie's older.
Oh, Jamie was born in Manly. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
He all right, go back to the beginning. Jamie was born in Manly.
Okay.
And then we moved to Hornsby, and Robert was born at Hornsby. I was born a year later at Hornsby. We were about 14 months apart, I guess, and maybe 15 months apart, I think we were. And then we moved to Dubbo when I was about 3 or 4.
Okay.
And I have another memory. It's probably around the same time, but we went over to Holland because my mum's Dutch, and we went over to Holland for about 5 or 6 weeks and saw her family. And I have a memory that's not even real. I was only 3 or 4. And they had this multi-level house. It was 3 stories high. And not a huge house, but we had all had rooms, that we had up there. And my memory is that I slept on the ironing board. I quizzed my mum and dad years later, and they said it wasn't even true. And I can remember sitting in the gutter drinking hot chocolate with my grandfather, my opa, and walking through the tulip gardens, and that's the only memories I've had from 4 years old.
The ironing board. That's cool. So did Omar speak whole Dutch? Did she speak it, the language?
Back then she could do both because she learnt 3 languages. Oh. So she was Dutch, and she learnt English at school, and then I think it was either French or German or something. They learn at school as well.
Wow. Here I am, fucking barely even be able to speak English. Yeah. Damn. So did she ever try and teach you guys?
Oh, we knew a few basic words, like milk was milk.
Yeah.
Cider was sugar. So milk and cider. And I knew how to count to 10, and I learnt to say shit.
Yeah.
That was Stomperot. Or something.
Stomperot,
Or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the only ones I know.
Yeah.
Jamie's learnt, because Jamie went back a few years ago and met up with my cousin and toured around there and all that. So he studied a bit of Dutch and tried to keep up with the language, as a, 50-something-year-old. Yeah, so he learned a bit more, but I don't think Dad ever knew anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. That's very cool. So moving to Dubbo, that's obviously you're 4.
Yeah.
3, 4.
4. Yeah,
And you
I'd
started
say
school
4.
pretty much straight away. And then how long till you met Tony?
We would have met in that first year.
Okay.
Because my dad and her dad were in this club called the Lions Club.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
did all the charity work and all that. So they'd have get-togethers all the time and Christmas in the park and fundraisers and all that kind of thing. So our parents were in that. So we sort of met each other through there and we probably have known each other since we were 4, basically. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a single other person that still had a best friend from when they were 4.
Yeah, we probably weren't best friends back then. And through school, we had our own group of friends, but we walked to school together every day in high school because we were too close to the school to catch the school bus at one point. They changed it and you had to walk if you were 2.2 Ks from school. Mm-hmm. So we lived one street away, right around the corner from each other. So I'd walk to her place every morning, wait for her to finish getting ready every day.
Yeah.
And if it was raining, her mum would drop us down in her old beat-up Volkswagen.
Yeah.
And we'd ask her to drop us off. We'd get her to drop us off the corner before school because it was so loud.
Yeah.
Because the parents used to like to embarrass the kids, Yeah.
And, I remember. I've grown up with it. I grew up with it. Yeah.
And she had there was another girl just further up the road from her, and occasionally she'd get a lift with her to school, and her dad dropped them off at school one time in the work car or whatever he was in, and he pulled up out the front of school and he beeped his horn going, "Tony and Kelly's here, Tony and Kelly's here, beep, 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 beep."
That sucks being a kid, eh? Yeah.
Do you remember what I did to you when I dropped you off one day?
Yeah, and I would like it if you said it. I would like it if you said it.
Because you were like, there's nothing you can say to embarrass me.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like,
yeah.
I'd try and embarrass you as much as I could.
Yeah.
I wasn't a mean mum, but I was trying to be funny, Like,
yeah. But everyone was always so embarrassed of like their mom or their dad coming to school. But I was like, what are you embarrassed for?
Yeah,
everyone
I don't
has
care.
a mum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't get it.
She doesn't come to school in her jammies,
Yeah. Even that wouldn't care.
But yeah, I'd drop you off and I'd always pull up on the school side. Like I'd never let you walk across the road by yourselves because like it was always that fear that if you got run over, I could have dropped you off on the school side. Like it was no further to go.
Yeah.
If I walked yous across the road, like we'd park just around the corner and I'd walk across the road with yous, but I never ever got yous to walk across the road by yourselves. There was always that fear that you don't wait on the other side of the road for your kid because there are those kids that get run over.
Yeah.
So one day I pulled up out the front of school and you walked off and you're like, you can't embarrass me. And so I wound down the window and I yelled out,
I was with girls too.
don't forget to wipe your bum.
Oh my god. I remember the feeling. I was with a group of girls and I just remember feeling, oh, this is what embarrassment is. Like, this sucks.
You win.
Yeah, this sucks. Yeah.
And every time I drove anywhere and I had a group of your friends in the car, they'd be like, tell us the story, because they just want me to embarrass you,
I know. You were the cool mum, but you were the cool mum. You were the fun mum, especially when we moved to Christian school and stuff like that. Like all the other mums, everyone was very strict and don't you say damn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I don't know, everyone just felt so comfortable when they got in our car. Everyone was having fun.
Yeah, we'd have the music on and pumping because I used to always listen to your music anyway, and you guys knew the 80s music, so yeah.
I just remember being in everyone else's car and just thinking as a kid best behavior, like don't even sneeze, you know, like fucking hell. I hope my shirt's tucked in.
Well, Bernie got in someone's car one day. I think it was a Mercedes or something. She got into Carol Murray's car after dancing, and she threw up in her brand new car.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dancing, that was one of the funnest periods of my life growing up too. I guess I if everyone listening who didn't know, I was a b-boy, all right? I knew how to break it down, and I still do. So if everyone wants to see me bust a move, just all you have to do is ask.
We're still at the videos.
Don't might cut that out. But yeah, my sister and Fossey, who's my best mate, everyone listening, and shout out to you, Fossey. But his sister, who are best friends, my sister and Fossey's sister, they grew up doing dancing together, and you did such a good job, Mum, of taking every day some of the dancing, you know, every day. If it wasn't you, it was Renee, or if it was both of yous, you'd have both taken the kids to dancing and gymnastics and all that. God, that was a fun part growing up.
Yeah.
I loved growing up. We grew up in Mount Druitt Shopping Centre.
Yeah.
Me and Fossey just roamed every day.
Yeah.
It was the best. It was such a good part of my childhood.
And remember, you could go and buy your $2 Chinese, where, like, for $2 you could get like a container with fish pieces and rice or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, can we have one of those? No, can't afford it today.
Yeah.
It was so expensive to dance.
Yeah. I remember that was when the iPhone 3 first came out too, and your work got you an iPhone 3.
Yeah.
And me and Ryan are like, oh, look at this. It was so fucking interesting. It was so fascinating.
I know. I've never not had an iPhone.
I
like,
know,
the
so
first one
lucky.
came out, and I think I had a Samsung. You know, I can't remember what the numbers they were, but that grey Samsung before then, or a flip phone, you know, like different ones. And that came out, and it was like, oh, wow. And the game on it was trash.
Yeah, trash ball.
And you could just flick.
Yeah. Paper toss.
Paper toss.
Toss. Oh, yeah. Oh, my
We'd
God.
sit there for ages at work, just playing paper toss.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super grateful for every part of us growing up. Like, I loved growing up in St. Mary's. Like, that was just fun. And then I'm super grateful that you decided to move us, and I got to meet all my friends that I have now. It was awesome. I loved every part of it. But what was it like for you growing up? Like, I have no idea. I can't even imagine, like, growing up in Dubbo, going to school like that. But I guess it was all you ever knew. Like,
Yeah.
How were you as a kid? How would you describe how you were in, like, primary school?
Oh, I think I was probably a shy kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I probably was shy until I started working, and then I got the confidence. I did a bit of public speaking at work and training and all that, and I got a lot more confidence there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was the shyest kid, you know, like I had my bunch of, not around my friends, like I was a talker, you know, and I'd get in trouble for talking at class. But yeah, I was pretty smart and in the top class all the time. But yeah, I just remember just not being a cool kid because I was a bit too shy. But I had some very good friends, you know, and had, you know, good friend groups, and I love going to school. Like, I loved when I went to school that time, you know, like, because you were just so free, you know, like, and you know, you didn't have to worry. Like, we used to play football and all that, and chases out on the concrete, like the bitumen tar area, you know, and there were monkey bars where you could hang off, and a few people broke their arms. And I think that's probably why
Seems
they
to be
got
a reoccurring theme back in the day.
I think that's probably why they ended up getting rid of them all.
Yeah.
But and we walked home from school all the time, and you know, it was just, and you rode your bikes everywhere. Like, everyone had a bike, and everyone just rode everywhere all the time. And you walked or rode, and you know, it was, you had freedom. Like, hey Mum, going up to the mall, you know, which they built behind us a little way, and you just had to be home by dark or had to be home by 5:30. But you know, you had a time, like, be home by 5:30. I'd be home. Like, I remember every time I'd be home 5:35, I'd run home like if I was at Tony's. Even her mum would be like, you better go. But I'd run all the way home. I'd get home. You're grounded. I'd be grounded for a week or two, and then I'd go out again. Next time, you're grounded.
Wow.
But yeah, it was just heaps of fun. You just got to roam around everywhere and not have the fear that parents have today.
Oh, so that was my next question.
Yeah.
Because it's like, did you ever notice a change in like crime or whatever it was that made parents a bit more like, no, I don't want my kid to go out or go to the shops by themselves or walk to school? Like, was there just less
Probably
weirdos?
by the time you guys went to school, we were sort of more aware, but living in Sydney, that, you know, you just didn't let a little kid, like there were 6, 7, 8-year-olds that walked to school.
Yeah, there was.
But
yeah.
you heard about kidnappings and attempted kidnappings. I think when you were in year 6, there was a kid that a guy tried to abduct him.
There was more than one, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
and
a couple
drag
of
him
girls
into
I
the
hung
car.
out with. Yeah, a couple of girls I hung out with that happened.
Yeah, and Amanda had somebody follow her,
Yeah, I remember
you know, quite a few times and stalk her. And yeah, just were different times. Like people, it was more common that there were weirdos because you heard about it more.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was a bit more of a fearful parent,
Mm-hmm.
you know, than back in our day. We didn't have to lock our house, you know, Mum.
Really?
Yeah, like, you know, you could just leave the back door open and yeah.
So it was just like, was there anything? Was there any other stories of when you being in school and having like other kids be like, someone tried to fucking kidnap me, someone tried to follow me home? Never.
No.
Wow.
Oh, you probably had stranger danger come into it, you know, where neighbourhood watch came in. There were signs on houses of which ones you could go into, but
What
there
do you
was
mean houses?
like,
you
so
can
on
go
your
in?
mailbox you had this little plaque that had neighbourhood watch.
Yeah.
And they were the homes that you could go in if you didn't feel safe, if you were walking home, you know, and you're being followed or whatever.
That seems like a fucking pedophile sticker right there.
Yeah. Now they're the ones that you probably don't want to go into.
Yeah.
But yeah, there probably were incidences, but it just wasn't common, you know. And yeah, I remember getting lost in the main street in Dubbo with my mum one time, and I went shopping with her, and I must have looked in the window or something, and might have been with my brothers even, and Mum kept walking, but I didn't. And then next thing you know, I look around and there's no Mum, and I might have been 7, 8 years old, and it's like, oh, where's she gone? So I sort of walked around, couldn't find her, and then a lady's like, oh, you know, you looking for your mum? Yeah. And then she's like, oh, come and hop in my car and I've got to go and do this. And she had a car full of kids. I've got to go and do this and then we'll take you to the police. Yeah. And then I'll drop you at the police station, driving along, and we got to the lights. And I'm like, there's my mum, see ya.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit weird, you know.
Yeah.
But that was probably all above board and everything.
Yeah.
But you still didn't get in the car with strangers. But yeah, just everything was a lot more freer. I think you had no fear walking around, you know.
It's so weird. You think that it would be worse back in the day, you know, because the history is always, when I think about it, it's full of war and tragedy and slavery and sexism and all that shit. And it's like, how can it be worse now? You know what I mean? We're in the safest part of history, but we're in the most scaredest part of history.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that there's more people, so there's more weirdos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I like how you're saying, like, you went to school and you felt free, but, like, that's the complete opposite to anything I ever felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like when I was walking to school, I was like, I'm going to prison. Like, it's like, oh, no. Everything I want to do in this place, I get in trouble for doing. Like, I have no freedom.
Well, we used to, I think because we had fun walking to school and everything as well. Like, Tony and I and a couple of other girlfriends would walk to school, and we'd go the back way that wasn't through, it was through like an oval area and a area that had no houses or anything. So you'd walk through just blank areas, and one of us would have like cigarettes, but to have a cigarette, you'd just put a peg on it and hold the peg, you know, so that you wouldn't go to school smelling of smoke and all that. So, and I wasn't a big smoker, you know, just a puff here and there.
Yeah.
And
just being a kid.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
12, 13, 14-year-old. Yeah.
I feel like it was more common too. Smoking would have been way more common. Was everyone smoking when you were younger?
Yeah,
Not
a
just
lot
kids, but adults, everyone?
not so much adults. Like Tony's parents did, but my parents didn't.
Yeah.
Like, and was just probably, it was very common, but on my parents' side of things, not a lot of people smoked, but on Tony's parents' side of things, a lot of people smoked, you know. So mum was the stay-at-home mum and, you know, quite reserved and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So different backgrounds with, you know, everything. So, yeah.
I feel like no one is, probably not no one, I'd say like 10% or less are smoking now. People my age, like say our generation. That's because everyone's vaping. I reckon there's more people vaping than there ever was smoking.
Yeah.
100%.
Probably.
Yeah, 100%. I think
Yeah.
you're lucky you missed that. You missed
Oh, yeah.
that.
Yeah.
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 So what about like, because when I think of being a kid, I think, I don't know how to word it, but it's like what about boys? That's what I'm trying to get at. Because I'm imagining most of my memories of being in school was about trying to chase girls. Do you have many memories of being in school trying to chase boys?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have one in particular where you like don't have to say names, but you just remember like your biggest like school crush from when you were a kid, or like?
Yeah, I had a few throughout the years, you know, and I remember one was like maybe when I was in year 7, he would have been in year 9 or 10, and
Damn, reaching. Yeah. I never had that. Jesus
and
Christ.
no, he was just a crush, you know.
Yeah.
And we used to have these bomb scares. So somebody would ring up and say, "Oh, you know, there's a bomb in the school." So
mad.
we had an oval, like the football oval, behind us. So we'd get evacuated onto the oval, and you'd be hanging out there for an hour, you know, while the police came and swept the place and all that. And I remember being out there, and I think Tony was going out with a guy that was a couple of years older, and one of his group, and he was sort of part of their group, I guess, and they came over and dragged me over and introduced me to this guy that I had a crush on, and I just wanted the ground to swallow me up. Like, it was like, no.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, but I always, like, I hung around my brother's friends, you know, I always had a crush on one of them and all that. So we used to sort of sit right next to their, because there was only 1 year between us at school, we'd sit with the girls right near those guys and play handball with them, brandies at lunchtime and all that. So, yeah, I always had a big group of boys that I hung around. So they were a big part of your life, you know.
Yeah. Especially having older brothers.
Yeah.
I thought about it like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I miss the feeling. I always miss the feeling of having crushes on girls. Like being a kid, that was the best feeling. Like there's nothing that compares to that as being an adult. Honestly.
Yeah.
You don't get crushes on anyone.
Yeah.
You're just like, she seems alright, I guess.
I know, like, it's so innocent and,
Yeah, I remember writing love letters. I used to love writing letters for girls in school. And then when I got love letters too, I remember Danae Murphy, she fucking wrote me this fucking 6-7 page fucking colour coordinated fucking love letter. Jesus Christ. Should have kept all that shit, but probably lost it by the time it was lunchtime. Yeah.
I remember when, like, because you were always a ladies' man.
I love
you know,
girls.
like
Always
you had a
loved
girlfriend from about year 3 onwards. Like,
I remember going to have a girl
like,
in preschool. I remember Taylor Asidi
oh, yeah,
was my girlfriend in preschool.
Yeah, Taylor Azidi. Yeah, she was your first girlfriend. She was a year younger, but you always had a girlfriend. And I remember one time I'm not sure if you were with Danae or Brittany, and you broke up. And you came home and you told me that 7 girls asked you out that same day.
Yeah, you don't need to back and do me like this on the internet. Jesus. Just so you all know, it's all been downhill since then, all right? Jesus.
That was your peak.
Yeah, that was my peak. I always say that. No. I peaked in primary school. Yeah.
But you didn't even go, like, you didn't even pick any of them.
Nah.
But, yeah, you were so proud to come home.
I remember what year that would have been. No, that could have been like...
I think it was year 6. You're in year 6.
Yeah. It would have been Danae then. She was my girlfriend in year 6. But, yeah, I have this funny moment. I remember going out with a girl in, like, year 3. And it was Emily Polzovich, her name was. And I remember, like, we went out for probably, like, 6 months or something like that. And then... one day we were walking through the shopping centre. I was with you and she was with her mum or her dad or someone, and we just kind of saw each other. And then I remember it was in the school holidays. I remember thinking like, oh man, I don't want to go out with this girl anymore. I want to go back to school. I want to go out with someone else. But then like I had no social media or anything back then. I think I had MSN actually, but I don't think she had MSN. And then I get back to school and I just tell everyone, yeah, me and Emily aren't going out anymore. And everyone's like, oh, what happened? I'm like, oh, she broke up with me. She called me and she broke up with me over the holidays. And everyone's like, oh, it sucks. I'm like, yeah, it sucks. And I'm gonna have to find another girlfriend. And then I just didn't talk to her for like a couple of days. And then she eventually, I was avoiding her. And then she came up to me and she's like, why are you telling everyone that I broke up with you? I was like, you did. And she's like, no, I didn't. I was like, yeah, you did. And she's like, it must have been someone else. I was like, nah, I don't care. You did. You broke up with me. And then I got out of the relationship. I got out of it.
That's so slack.
I know. She was so shocked. She's like, oh, I didn't do anything. It's like, no, it's all your fault. Yeah. That's the only thing I ever remember loving about school. That's like, I hated school so much.
Oh, you were always in trouble.
Fuck, I hated it. I just couldn't do what I wanted to do. It sucked. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool that you had a different feeling. You felt free at school.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It wasn't about the schoolwork. Like, it was about recess and lunch and going to school and, you know, like, and after school. Like, it wasn't even about school.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have homework and that to do and all that, but that's not really big memories to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I guess I don't have any memories of ever doing any work in school.
That's because you didn't do.
Yeah, maybe that's why. I have one memory of being in school when Mr. Moss was our teacher. I had him for 4 and 5, and he went away and he must have had a kid or something, and we had a casual teacher. Would have been fucking 4 months. We had casual teachers, even 6 months or more, and we just had them none of them could handle us. Like they just leave. Mr. Moss comes back and there's just spitballs like all along the walls, all along the paintings, the pictures, like everywhere you look. And it was like, he just yelled at me so badly on his first day back. I'm thinking like, how do you even know it was me? Like, it wasn't even, like, it was everyone. Like, I remember always feeling victimated because I felt like I was getting singled out. That like, probably because I didn't pay attention to anyone else getting in trouble. It's just me. But yeah, I felt so alienated. Like, we all did this, you know? So I'm just denying it probably and saying, I did a couple, like, it wasn't really me. But then, like, what made it obvious was because we had our paintings all hung up in front of us, kind of, like, everyone's spitballs had, except mine. My painting didn't have any spitballs on it. So he must have easily put it together. Didn't even realise this until like a couple of years ago. Yeah.
They weren't mind readers, Jake.
Oh no,
there wasn't a lot of detective work that they had to do.
No, never. And
I think you and Ryan were in 4 or 5 together for the first time.
Yeah.
I think.
I remember having a big part in corrupting Ryan as a kid. I do. Yeah.
No, Ryan was always
bad
the
outside
rat
of
bag.
school, but Ryan was naughty outside of school. Inside school, Ryan was just do as you're told. Ryan was a weird kid. We had opposite traits, you know. The way he would fucking act at home, I would never be caught dead acting like that. Never. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, because you were good at home and you were good when we went to other people's places.
Yeah.
But so to get this kid that was always in trouble, it was like, I don't know if they're picking on him, you know.
Yeah, I know. I do remember, like, you always feel, you know what, I'm going to pause this conversation right here because I want to talk about you, all right? I'm sure we'll get to the stage of where you're having kids and that, right?
Sure,
right? Having a little rat bag as a kid. But, like, what about after school? What was your mindset like as soon as you, like, because you finished year 12? Yeah. So what was your mindset like, say, graduation? Do you remember what you were thinking back then?
I just remember, I don't know if I even applied to get in uni, but I moved schools for year 12.
Oh, that's right.
So we left Dubbo at the end of my year 11 and moved to the Central Coast to Gosford. I went to Henry Kendall High School for 1 year, and it was
nice. And
so it was pretty heartbreaking for the first 6 months, and then I, eventually, I sort of, hung around like a good group and everything, and they were nice people and everything, and everyone was welcoming. And then the last 6 months, I sort of hang around a different group, and they were more social, and and everything was all cool, but I'd lost the momentum of caring about school, and I was exhausted from schoolwork. Like it was.
Well, it was also you were changing schools, so not only did you have to find yourself freaking socially and emotionally and all this stuff. Now you're trying to fucking educate yourself at the same time.
Yeah, like I did ancient history and modern history, and when I was in Dubbo, we did like Greece or whatever, but we were going to do Egypt when I got to the new school for year 12, like in Dubbo for year 12. When I got to the new school, they did Egypt the previous year. So there was only 3 topics that they did. So I missed a whole third of one of the subjects. So I was never going to pass,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could have put in the effort and learned it myself. But there was no assistance with, hey, you should try and catch up on this subject and everything. And, so it was kind of a bit hard for me, going in under those conditions and everything. But I don't know if I applied for uni or if you just waited to see what mark you got and then applied for uni. I think based on the mark that you got. I can't remember how it worked. And I passed. Like it was out of 500 back then. I think I got like 304 or 306 or something. So it was just, 60%. But history I only got 53%. So that dragged a lot of the marks down. So it was like, oh, well, I'll just go and find a job. And I ended up, my first job was at Kmart as a trainee manager. And for that you had to go and do a TAFE course at night time. And after about 3 weeks, I'd just go to work exhausted because it was supposed to be 3 nights a week or whatever. Went to work exhausted and the boss is like, why are you so tired? I'm like, oh, I've got TAFE and then I've got to get home to the Central Coast because TAFE was at Meadowbank and then you had to get yourself to Gosford. And he's like, you don't even have to do that course, And so I stopped and didn't do it anymore. But I just remember just being so exhausted. There was no way I was going to uni. I was too tired by the end of year 12. You don't want to spend 1 more minute studying. So
there's no way I was ever going to uni back then either. That was never in my line of sight ever.
And I didn't have any aspiration for anything that involved uni. Like I pretty much just wanted to do secretarial work or something like that, which I never did. But, or work in a bank or whatever. But I ended up being at Kmart and became a manager and, worked my way up through the office and became an admin manager and all that over the course of the 9 years. And I enjoyed the office side of things, cash office, invoice office and, payroll and all. And I knew that's where I was comfortable and started from there basically.
Nice. So if you did that for 9 years, so did you get the jobs like say 18?
Yeah.
So you would have worked to 27.
Yeah.
So the whole time were you still living in the Gold Coast? Is that what you said it
Central
was?
Coast.
Central Coast, sorry.
Yeah.
So then how did you and Tony have some time together?
So I left Dubbo for year 12 and then Tony started uni in Sydney. So we we lived at Carryong at Gosford and Tony's auntie and uncle owned a motel and Tony stayed there and it was across the road. So we sort of saw each other a couple of times there, but then she moved into Sydney to Chatswood, I think, and rented a unit there. And we sort of didn't have too much interaction for the first 2 or 3 years. We'd just see each other every now and then. And then by the time I was 21, I was single. She was single. And then it was just party central. Every minute we were with each other. We were joined at the hip and never left each other.
You guys love reminiscing on those days. I always noticed you guys must have had so much fun.
Oh, we partied so hard. And then when we were 22 we moved in together and then we got too broke and we both of us moved back to my mum's. And but we had so much fun. Like they were the funnest times of my life. Like from 22 to 25, and then we both were in serious relationships, and both went on to marry our partners and everything.
Wow, so you met Dad at what age?
25 we started going out.
25, wow.
We knew each other, and we went out for our 25th birthdays to a restaurant together with my mum and dad and his auntie and uncle that he used to go and see, and a few close friends and all that, and just that night we started going out. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
it's very cool. Well, I didn't know. I thought you must have been I guess the maths makes sense. I thought you must have met around like 27, 28 or something, but I guess thinking
we were married at 27.
Yeah,
and then you were born at 28.
Yeah, okay. So you knew each other for 2 years before you got married. Was that a typical normal period of time before people started to get engaged?
Yeah, probably. I think it was just on 3 years. So it would have been just before I just turned 25. So all of 25, all of 26, and by all of 27. And I think just as I turned 28, we must have got married. And then before I turned 29, we had you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think anyone's getting married now within a couple years. I feel like now people are dating for more like 5 years, 6 years before they're starting to get engaged. Do you think that is a good or a bad thing in your own opinion, waiting longer to get engaged?
Depends how old you are. I think if you're young, sure, wait. But, if you're living together and all that, you know each other.
Yeah.
So if you're in your late 20s and all that, there's no need to wait, 3, 4, 5 years,
Yeah.
You should know each other well enough living with them, but as long as you're old enough, I don't think you're really mature enough until you're in your late 20s. And, so your mature you is different to the young party you,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm starting to understand that now too, 100%. I'm starting to, because I'm still in mid-20s, but I've noticed a massive difference in mindset from early 20s to mid-20s. It's exponential.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, do you remember, was there another exponential mindset between like mid-20s and late 20s? You remember feeling like a way different mindset compared to early 20s and mid-20s? From when you were partying to when you were ready to get married, was there another big jump in mindset between like thinking about getting married and being like almost 30?
Yeah, probably, because all you were interested in, up to, your mid to late 20s was all you were interested in was partying.
Yeah.
Having as much fun as you can, and then the focus is on having a family. So, and then
was that
maturity just kicks in like that,
Yeah. Was that a conscious decision of like, now it's time to stop because I would rather have a family, or was it almost like it seems like this is what everyone does at this age, maybe it's time for me to start doing this?
We always knew, Dad and I always knew that, like, we went out for a week before the question was asked, what do you want of the future? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? And because we both had the same mindset,
That's so smart.
Then, like, because if he never wanted kids, I don't think I would have been with him.
Yeah.
Because I always wanted to get married and have kids. So as soon as, we sort of had the relationship established and everything, like the plan was get married and have kids.
Yeah.
So we tried from the honeymoon, yeah.
Well, it mustn't have been too long after the honeymoon.
It was you were a honeymoon baby.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, 10 months later.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, it's cool, because I'm always thinking, like, I wonder if there's a stage where people are more like, this just seems to be, like, throughout history, the time where everyone decides to have kids, or if it's more like, I don't know, if your brain just naturally just transitions into this is what's more important now, I'm not ready to experience it yet, so I'm curious.
Yeah, I think I always wanted kids, and but I always wanted my own kids. I did go out with a guy and he had a couple of little kids, and was divorced or whatever, and just had like custody on weekends and that. And I went out on a date with him, and I remember first in my head freaking out, thinking, I want my kids to be my kids, my first kids to be my kids. Like, I don't want to be a stepmom at 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
You know.
That's pressure. That's
Yeah, yeah.
It's pressure.
But then it all just fell in naturally, you know, like the instinct, you know, to have kids type of thing. It sort of kicked in, and the focus was, you know, and you know, it was easy because, you know, I fell pregnant so quickly all the time that then that is your focus, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no more drinking, no more partying. And yeah.
So did you already have a change in lifestyle that was like, by the time you got pregnant, you didn't need to adjust, or was it like, fuck, no more drinking, damn it? What was it like?
No, it was pretty much just cut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I fell pregnant the first month, you know. So our last party would have been the wedding. Yeah.
And do you remember, like, was it like a shock, like being pregnant? Like, do you remember the feeling of first being pregnant and like the first experience of like?
Oh no, it was just excitement.
Excitement.
It was just excitement.
Yeah. Mike, was there any fear going into like actually giving birth or anything like that, or was it just like can't wait?
Oh, there is a bit of the fear thing, like holy shit, you know. But it's more about holy shit, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get the kid home or the baby home, and it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like
that's
I didn't really have any, apart from one girlfriend. I didn't have anybody else that had kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I had no examples of what, I'd never even changed a nappy from a newborn baby.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to learn everything.
Yeah. It's crazy. Because your older brothers didn't have kids, so like you never even had.
Yeah, I was never an auntie.
Uncle.
Yeah.
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 I'm excited for that moment, so I can like tick that little part of my brain that's curious as to what it's like to have a freaking baby that's yours. You're just like,
I made this.
oh
like,
my god.
Yeah, and it's like. Like you don't even know how to hold them, you know. Like
yeah, I'm actually excited for that moment.
Yeah,
I bet it's surreal.
Oh, it is, and yeah, and I actually surprised the nurses because after you came out, I said they weighed you, you know, and I just said, do they get bigger after that? And they were like, you're already thinking of the next one.
Yeah, well, so you would have had me for like 3 years or so, 2-3 years until you had
Bernie and you were 2.25 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was.
So you were trying.
I was
a year. Then.
Yeah, you were a year and a half old, and yeah.
And did you
once again?
Try?
No. We tried, and first month every time I felt pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
he just had to look at me.
Nice.
He'd just go.
Yeah. Nice. So the same age difference again between your second kid and your third kid. So
no, there's 3 years.
3 years. That's right.
3 years between them, but I lost 3 babies between Bernie and Kyle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was a tough 12 months.
Yeah.
3 and 12 months.
Yeah. I remember, but I kind of remember being a kid and being young enough to remember always having plants and shit like that. And then it's like, what is this? And then it was like, this is like a memory,
we had
a
happy
tribute.
plant.
I've never even heard of that since, actually.
Yeah.
So what is, just in case anyone's listening, what is the thing that you do when you like have a miscarriage? Like what's the...
Well, I just had, I bought a happy plant that I had on the dining table because I remember my nan at her place, she had a happy plant. And it was just a really warm memory that I always had of her house. And it was there for as long as I could remember. Never really grew very much.
Yeah.
And I just remember I just wanted to not be sad about it all the time and just have a happy plant that I had a warm memory.
So wait, what's a happy plant? Is a happy plant a name of a plant?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a symbolism for like to make you happy.
Yeah.
It's called a happy plant.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was just like symbolically you wanted to get something to make you feel happy.
Yeah. So that I didn't feel sad all the time.
Okay.
You know?
I thought this whole life that it's like this is what you buy. It's called a happy plant when you like have a miscarriage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that sums that up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, is it Is there any is it common for like that to happen to women like during not during childbirth but during?
So a lot of people have miscarriages and they don't even know it. So it's in the first, 4 to 6 weeks that most people have their miscarriages and everything. So mine first one was the baby was 18 weeks old. So it was second.
That's ages. Jesus Christ.
Second, the baby just died in the womb.
Wow,
So,
it's on the 5th month.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was, pretty traumatic. And then it happened again, the next one. And the baby was 16 weeks.
Oh my gosh! So 6th month.
Yeah, no, 16. So 4 months.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I had, and then I got the results from the first autopsy, because I remember I had to give birth to the babies for those two.
Wow.
Because they were so. I was much further along, so I had to give birth. And when the first one was born.
How do you have to wait the entire period of 9 months to give birth?
No, at that point, they just put you in labour. So you just have medication and it puts you in labour and gave birth, and in the maternity ward.
So they have a medicine to make you give birth.
Yeah, to put you in to start labour.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That seems fucking like a glitch in the Matrix, like a cheat code.
Yeah. So that one, I remember the baby coming out and seeing the placenta, and it was like a bag of peas. It was all lumpy. And I found out later on, and the baby was very drained of colour, like very pale. And it would have only been about as big as the cup, and I got the result. So after the second one died, we just got the results of the first one, and it had blood clots in the placenta. So it didn't have enough, blood that went through to the baby, basically. And so my third one, they gave me, I had an injection every day to make of blood thinners. So every day I had a injection, different parts around the stomach.
Wow.
And that one, I think I miscarried at 13 weeks. And then I had an operation to see what was going on the inside. Maybe, there was somewhere they were attaching and it wasn't working out. And I remember the doctor saying to me, and every pregnancy, so all 5 of those pregnancies, I conceived the first month from my period. Like, so, basically I just have sex when I was pregnant, basically.
Yeah.
And I remember the doctor said to me, there's no reason why you can't carry a baby to term. Like, there's nothing. He said, so, just try again, come back and see me when you're pregnant. I went back and saw him 6 weeks later, and he went, I told you to come back when you're pregnant. And I said, I told you I'd be back soon. And so, so the 6th
I should have came back that night.
So the 6th pregnancy, again, first month, and he was just amazed. And then, then I had Kyle from that pregnancy, and I never felt complete until I had Kyle. Like, I always felt that I was going to have 3 babies, So it wasn't until I got that 3rd baby that I felt complete and didn't need to have any more.
That's a crazy feeling. Man, that would have been a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
Was that almost instantaneously, or did you just kind of realise it like after a while, like, I'm not chasing anymore?
No,
children?
I sort of just knew.
Yeah.
Just knew. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did they tell you when you were having these shit stuff happen that, like, this is like, it does happen, like, not regularly, or is it very rare?
It's more common than people talk about. So and people don't acknowledge you're having a miscarriage either. I remember the first one, there were flowers and everything, but the second and third ones, nobody acknowledged the passing of the baby. It wasn't, the second one was probably the most traumatic for me, and had to go to counselling and everything, and learn to deal with it. But and then I had a little break before the third one because I had that oh no, I don't think I had a break, but I think I had a bit of a break between the third and the fourth one when Kyle was a baby. But it was in 11 months I had 3 miscarriages.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But we lived in one house for that because we moved a lot.
Yeah.
And we lived in this house in St Clair, and you would remember the girl next door hanging over the fence.
Oh, I don't know if I remember
Going,
living in
Jake,
St Clair.
Jake, like, and she'd always call out. She was
That wasn't the
special
house
kid.
that like where we had to live in the garage for a bit. It wasn't that house?
that was the one before that.
Okay.
And
I don't know if I
you
remember
used
this
to
house.
call out your name over the fence, and one day you just snap back at her, like, yeah. I don't know if she was calling you the wrong name or something, and
That reminds me of something.
you just call back going, "It's Jake, Jake, Jake," you know,
kinda do
so
remember
maybe
that.
she was calling you the wrong name
I
or
kind of
something,
do remember that.
or maybe she was calling you Jack, or you know,
Yeah.
and we lived in that house, and it was a really cool house, and but it was I thought it was an unlucky house because you and Bernie were born in different houses. You were born at Gosford Hospital. Bernie was born at Westmead, and then we moved to this house at St Clair. And it wasn't till we moved out of there that I actually was pregnant with Kyle.
Oh,
So it was
wow.
kind of like that house was unlucky, even though it was a great house for us. And it was
Wow.
kind of
That's crazy how life works like that.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you never... Were you just planning on staying there long term?
Oh, we were only renters, so probably. But then the opportunity came along for us to buy our first house.
Wow.
So
And that might not have happened if you had already had Kyle. Hey.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's crazy. That's crazy.
yeah,
I love shit like that.
yeah.
Having a girl live next door, the only thing I ever remember of is having a Mandarin war with a girl that lived next door, but I don't remember if that was at our house or at someone else's house. Yeah. Yeah.
It rings a bell, Mandarin War. But,
Yeah. I think it might have been when I was friends with this kid named Bowen, and then me and Bowen, and there was these girls that lived next door, and we ended up
I think so.
We
Yeah,
belted these
that's
girls
right.
with Mandarins. We belted these girls.
It was in their house in Carpenter Street, in the first house that
Yeah.
that she owned, and then she moved and rented. Yeah, Tamara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think later on in life, I learned that was actually a girl that I was going out with. I remember. I think it was either like the Murphys or the Moons or someone that. Fuck! I remember belting this girl in the head with this Mandarin. It was so funny. I don't remember living in St Clair at all. I do remember us moving a lot though. I do kind of remember being in preschool and us like, I don't know, living in the garage of this house once. I think you were renovating inside it, things like that.
Yeah.
I remember putting my finger in a hole inside of the house one time. I got bitten by something, some shit.
Yeah. You can't believe the amount of times I've moved. I think I worked it out. It's either 24 or 26 times.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I tell people I've lived in like, I think 10 houses maybe, 10.
Yeah.
You know, including the time, not including like the
Yeah,
time we lived in the
'cause-
caravan for a bit and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, you were born in Carryong. We lived in a house, and then we moved around the corner to another rental because they built a duplex onto the house that we lived in.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved around the corner, and then I was pregnant with Bernie, and we moved to Collerton, to just around in Jensen Street, around the corner from Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And Bernie was born there, and then we moved to St Clair, and then we bought our first house in North St Mary's, and then moved to Marsden Road, and then we moved to Balmain Road, and then Rouse Hill, and then Acacia Gardens, and then this house. So 10
But then
houses.
I moved out and I
And then-
lived in fucking Penrith.
Was it what suburb? Cranebrook or somewhere?
No, not Cranebrook. It was like next to Penrith. Some newish kind of place near there. Lived there for a little bit. You know, we did live in the caravan park for a little bit. We didn't have a house.
We lived in the Fossies for a week.
Yeah, I lived in the Fossey's house. I
In
lived with
between
Luke
houses.
Mount for a
Yeah.
little bit in Colton too before I moved to Penrith.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I've moved a bit, but it's still only half as many times as you have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So, by the time Kyle was born, I would say I wouldn't have been in primary school yet, or I would have been in primary
You started
school.
kindy.
Yeah.
He was born, and then 1 month later, you started kindergarten.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't have any memory of you ever being pregnant.
Yeah.
Not one memory. I never remember thinking like, oh, my mum's pregnant. Never ever remember. Never think like that.
I think because I was always pregnant.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, maybe.
so if over the 5 years that you were born, I was pregnant 5 more times.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, I was pretty much always pregnant. So
Yeah.
it probably wasn't anything to you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, true.
Man,
true.
this baby's taking a long time to come out.
Yeah, it's like just a baby maker all the time.
Like,
Everyone's mum must just be constantly making babies.
Yeah.
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 So what was it like when you first remember sending your kids to school?
Oh, your first day of school, like it's like, oh, my little one's going to school, like it's like, oh, but you were a lot more of a confident kid. So you were ready to go to school,
Mm-hmm.
Bernie was the shy kid, and then by the time Kyle went to school and, you're already in year 3 or 4, I think it would have been, 5 years between you, and year 4. And I think by then it's like, oh, thank God everyone's at school. But you just remember the first day of school, you see all the mums all crying and upset and the kids crying and
Oh, really?
and all that. But Tamara and I were really good friends, and she had Bailey at he was 6 months older than Kyle, so we hung out together all the time when you guys were growing up. And so by the time 5 years later, when our little ones went to school, we stood there at school and we tried to fake cry, like, oh, our little one's going to school. Like, and it's like nothing would come out, and we just went back to her place and had coffee, like.
Yeah, you've already been through this. Yeah.
It was nothing,
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
The first day, do you remember, like, I can't imagine the feeling of, like, being around a bunch of other mums, like, was it, like, kind of like, how long before people start talking together, like you know what I mean?
I think because Tamara had a little one and Kyle was a newborn baby, it was easy for people to come up, oh, how old's your baby? So it's a break in the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew...
do you remember thinking to yourself, like, Jesus, that girl's young to have a kid? Was there anything like that? Like, because I can imagine there'd be people from the age of 30 all the way down to freaking 17.
Yeah, like I was, when you started school, I was already 32, so, you get your young 25-year-olds,
Yeah, true. I guess no one's 17.
So I was like one of the older mums, so I felt like an old bag,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm
that's
even a
crazy.
few years older than Tamara. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool. 'Cause
Yeah.
I am looking forward to having kids. I can't wait to have kids. So I'm just trying to, I don't know. I'm more curious to what every moment feels like,
Yeah.
That's how I just think in feelings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of faceplant times, like, oh, no. Like you get the call from school about, oh, Jake's in trouble about this and,
I bet.
and
I bet.
different things. And so there's a lot of facepalm moments when you're a
Yeah.
parent. Yeah.
So what was the most difficult time, like, having kids? Like, when they get to a certain age, are you always like, oh, fuck's sake? Or is it always just worse and worse every year?
I reckon going into adulthood, that you start to have mental, emotional issues. Like you have to deal with their brain, like their mental well-being as well as their physical well-being.
Mm-hmm.
When they're a little kid, they just do whatever you say. But the older they get, you have to look after their mental health as well and guide them and make sure they're okay. So that's probably it. It really is true that the older they get, the harder it is.
Yeah. I bet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was having a chat with mate Sam the other day on our podcast, and we were saying how it's so much fun to be friends with your parents. Like, it's just like you get to an age and it's like it's so fun. Like, my mum's my friend, my dad's my friend.
Yeah.
Being a kid, you're like, oh, it's my mum and dad.
Yeah.
And then we're thinking, like, I bet it's so cool for mums and dads to be like, I'm friends with my kids. Like, I bet that's a cool feeling
Yeah.
too.
It's nice. It's so nice that your kid talks to you, as a person, and you know, they appreciate what you're saying, and you know, you can have a drink with your kids and muck around with their mates, and you know, and it's so nice to be like, your friends are just so welcoming of me, you know, into you know, parties and everything. That's probably the nicer part as you get older, is to see, you know, that you're still welcomed by all your friends, basically. You know,
I do know that everyone that I choose to hang around is because they're polite. You know what I mean? Everyone is friendly and welcoming. That's the only reason I'm friends with people. I'm not going to be friends with anyone who is self-centered in a way that they're not willing to be polite to, especially people's parents. Like, Jesus Christ, like, why would I hang out with that person anyway? So it is all, I bet it's cool. Like, but do you remember a stage, because it's like, I don't know how to explain this, but it's like, I imagine having a kid and thinking to myself, like, it's just a dumb kid. You know what I mean? It's just a stupid baby. And then it grows up to be just a stupid toddler. Till it's a stupid student. And then all of a sudden, one day I'm going to have a kid and it's like, no, this is actually a person. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like absorbing information. It's actually thinking. Like, do you ever remember a stage where you noticed that? Like, having kids yourself, where you're like, oh, like, how do they feel about this? Or is it always like that from when they're a kid? I don't know how to explain it any differently. You know what I mean? Like, I've obviously, from when I was born, I haven't always been a conscious thinker. You know? Is there ever a stage where you realise like that, or is it just always like you always notice that from when they were growing up?
You just always see it, you know. You always know.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. So what's the difference in the 3 kids that you have? What's the different rides you've had with them?
You've always been that independent, always. Like, even from when I had Bernie, you were just so independent from me, where you were just so eager to run and help, and I didn't have to baby.
I don't ever remember ever helping, ever.
Oh, it'd be like, I'd put her on the ground to change a nappy, and it'd be like, Jake, quick, run and get me a nappy, you know? That's why I had more and more kids, because you get more and more help. So instead of me having to go and do anything, oh, quick, go and get that for me. Quick, go and do that. And then you two could go and play, you know? I remember, actually, I put Bernie as a newborn down on the ground for her to have a little mat time, you know? And this 2-year-old called Jake comes running through the room straight over Bernie. Like, he's running. Treads on her, you know.
Yeah. That's cool.
Baby, toddlers are oblivious to the baby, you know. Yeah. But once they start interacting, you know, with each other, that's, you know, nice to see them playing together and all that. So, yeah. I mean, it wasn't always fun and games. You know. But that's what you like as a parent. There were times where it was like, I thought you guys all hated each other. And that was heartbreaking, you know, because you don't want your kids to be fighting. You know, and I used to get so upset over you guys fighting, but you were just kids, you know. I'd say there was a period where we weren't really friends, me, Ben, and Kyle. I don't know. I feel like it was like, I feel like in the last 4 years, especially, even if I'd say 4 years, that we've actually became friends. 5 years. And I love that, you know, like I could never see as kids that's how you dream, that's how you're going to grow up mates, but when you were kids, there were times where you'd just think you'd never get there, you know. But I love that you guys, you know, will go and pick each other up when you need, and you know, always. It
surprises me that I even like someone like Bern or Cole will say, "Can you pick me up?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like, I'm like, why do I want to do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
and you know, you and Bernie would go out and just ring the other one when you're out and look out for each other, you know, like, oh, you're around here, can you come pick me up? And and you know,
it was mostly me depending on someone to pick me up. Yeah, I think Bernie missed that ride when it came to I was never able to drive.
But it's so nice to see us all interact and laugh and just have fun and socialize, you know, like you're not quite there with your friend groups, you know, you're still separate with that, but you know, moments where you do hang out at each other's parties. If you have a party, Bernie, sometimes she won't, but sometimes she will hang out with you guys, and that's really nice,
Yeah. Well, I like it. I want that. I want that because my best friends are Bern and Kyle, to be honest. Yeah. Like, out of all the best friends I have, especially boys, like Kyle's my best friend, 100%.
Yeah.
But it's weird because he's only kind of, it's like he's fallen into that role.
Yeah.
I don't remember him growing up being that.
Yeah. It's
weird. It might just be that I'm getting a bit more I'm really, really protective, especially as I get older, about them. I don't ever remember being too protective over Bert and Kyle growing up. Ever.
Oh, no, I reckon you would have been there. If Bernie had problems with the boy at school, you would have flogged him.
Yeah. I think I did actually one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember I was on my way to get a merit award. That was a thing in primary school where, like, if you're good, you get a merit, I think. I think that's how it worked. And then I was like, there was a time frame. They're like, right, 4 weeks and you can get a merit award. And everyone else had gotten merit awards. And it's like, all right, 2 weeks and you get a merit award. And I'm just, okay, I'm so close. 1 week and you get a merit award. And then Bern's like, this guy's bullying me. And I'm like, fuck. And then like, I was like 1 or 2 days away from getting my merit award. I'm like, fuck it, it's not even worth it. I don't even want this fucking merit award. Fuck this guy.
Do you remember like the Year 6 farewell? Like,
oh yeah, that's right.
So,
I can't remember why, but I wasn't allowed to go, eh?
Yeah, you just kept being naughty in class, and the teacher's like, that's it, you're not going to the formal.
Oh, I know, that's such a dick thing to do.
And it wasn't even anything big, you know, and I'm like, surely if he's good for the next 2 weeks, you'll get to go.
Yeah. And then I was good, eh?
You were so good for 2 whole weeks,
Fuck, what a dick
and then
thing.
on the day, went and saw him, can Cole come to the farewell? No. And I was crushed, You were crushed. And then you're like, you know what, I'm going to go anyway. I'm just going to go down there and I'm going to see all my friends. So you got dressed and I took you down there and you didn't go inside and everything, but everyone arrived in their cars and I drove you down there and everything. And I just remember I had my sunnies on and I was just crying. But like, I was so hurt that you weren't allowed to go. Yeah. I was crushed and you were fine there. So you weren't fine before it, but then when you got there, you were like, no, I can do this, and put your head up and all that. And then you showed how much courage you had to those people, those teachers, and just by, yep, I can see all my friends and have fun with them. And then, they didn't let you in or anything, but there was no begging or anything. But I just remember having sunnies on and, the tear coming down. Like I was so upset for you. Yeah. But, you were so brave.
I don't even remember any of those emotions or feelings. I don't remember feeling like I want to do this. Like I just remember being there kind of. I don't even remember getting photos. I don't remember any of them. I've just seen photos. Yeah. 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 I guess that wasn't really a big day for me in the end of it. Maybe I just mentally just shut it out. Maybe it was a big day. I can't remember.
Yeah. At the time, it was a big deal, and I think that was, one of those moments where if they'd have let you go, I kind of think you would have changed your attitude a bit because after that you went to Year 7 and you got in a lot more trouble. So 6 times in the first 6 months and it's like, Dad and I were like, we can't have this, and we're like, that's it. Let's renovate the house and let's get out of here. Yeah. And put you in the Christian school. Yeah. And I was
right there for a while, actually.
Well, you were like, until, like, I don't think you really believed we were going. And then
I didn't.
By the end of Year 7.
Like, fuck, we're going. Fuck, Christian school.
Yeah. Yeah. And then by the end of Year 7, you saw it that year, and then we moved that Christmas. That was the Christmas we were homeless.
We had Christmas in a hotel.
And we did.
That was awesome. I love that.
At Parramatta. Yeah. And then we didn't buy the other one because you got a 6-week period, so we didn't find anything to buy. And then we finally found a place, so we were only homeless for 4 weeks, and you hated me. You just hated the fact that I made us move. And then, the second day of school, you came up to me because I'm like, Jake, this isn't normal. Like this high school, like, your sister's got to come here, in another year. Like, I don't want her to put up with this,
Yeah,
the fights and all that.
It was a shit school.
And there was too much violence, you know. The police were there 3 times a week,
easily.
And the second day of school at the new Christian school, you came home and you said to me, I'll never forget it, you went, I get it, Mum.
Oh, yeah, I do. I kind of remember that feeling now.
And I was, and from that day, I knew you'd be okay. But you were that school holidays, we had watched you like a hawk because mentally you weren't coping with the fact that you had to move. And then by day 2, it was like,
yeah.
And then,
I can't even remember. I guess I was just a little bit too young to remember the feeling of having to move, but I do remember getting to another school, and I think what changed my whole opinion of it was having the group of boys come introduce themselves to you, after school and being like, "Hey, Mrs. Doxcey," I thought to myself, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? Like, that's weird.
And you could do these backflips, and they're like, so you impressed them all with backflips all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's right. And I remember by about year 9, everyone had their growth spurts, right? And I remember still walking into school every day because Carl was only in year 3 by the time you were in year 9, and walking into school every day and or even at the end of school, like the group would come over and they'd all say hello, but there was this one day where they'd all had their growth spurt and they all stood around me like looking down at me, "Hello, Mrs. Doxey." And it was like, "Hi guys."
Yeah, well, there was a massive difference in just culture in a way, from the 2 schools.
Yeah,
it's something that I'm actually very grateful I went from. I know the experience of going to public school and private school, and actually a shit private public school. One of the worst public schools to one of the best private schools.
Yeah.
And when I say best private schools, it was actually cheap compared to private schools.
Yeah.
But I don't know, everyone was just so fucking polite there. It was blew my mind.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, look at Patrick. He still calls me Mrs. Doxey.
Yeah. I know.
Patty, you don't have to call me Mrs. Doxey anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
His mum says the same thing to me. You can call me Jenny. I say, "All right, Mrs. Brown." He's like, crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I know. It was just like a big wake up call, and it was because Sharon's boys, Daniel and Hayden, they were such gentlemen.
They were.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid, and you actually respected the way they grew up.
Yeah.
Really did.
And they weren't strict parents or anything, but their kids were very respectful, and I knew that school had a lot to do with that. So, and so I thought, man, if they're half as good as those boys, we're going to that school. And I loved your primary school. I just didn't want the high school. So I
don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I was easily distracted, is the easiest way for me to say it. It didn't, even when I went to private school, I've said this on the podcast before, but it's like, I was so adamant every day of being like, I'm going to be the fucking greatest kid that ever exists. I'm going to just smash grades out of the water. I'm going to be so well behaved. Teachers are going to not know what the fuck. It was almost like a fuck you to every piece of authority I've ever had. It was almost like, I can prove everyone wrong. I'm the best at being a student. But then it's like, it wouldn't last a minute. I couldn't hold on to that feeling. I was so overwhelmed by everything else happening, Yeah. I was always just like, wanted to impress a girl or wanted to show off or make someone laugh. That was more important.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't matter how much I tried. It was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always had to be not the center of attention, but have attention.
Yeah, I had to have attention. Always. I've always loved attention.
Yeah.
Never felt comfortable without it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is weird, I guess. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even when you weren't in the drama class, like there was a production at school at the time and you weren't in it, but you were controlling the music and the curtains or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you even had to have the center of attention with that.
I did too.
Like had to be slightly out with your timing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What was it?
I think I remember they were doing a performance, and I was given the responsibility of controlling the panel for the lights and the sound effects.
Yep.
And I remember this. They'd wait for a sound effect, and I just wait, click. You know what I mean? I loved that. That was so funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember always wanting to participate with control without having to like be like, look at me. That's why I loved controlling the light and sound panel in school and things like that, because I wanted to be responsible for something without the stress of like everyone watching me do it, you know. I liked it. I did like that.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed that, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I mean, so I can't wait. I can't wait to go through everything that you and Dad went through and having kids. Always wanted to have kids growing up. Always. Since I was at least 13.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait. But now I'm like, oh, thank fuck I haven't had any kids yet.
Well, if we stayed at that school, we never know where this might have been.
A lot of the people I knew back then, I guess, like, I don't know, not everyone, for everyone who's listening, but a lot of people haven't turned out to be the most productive adults, I can say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them have, but no shout outs, so you just can all work that out for yourselves.
Yeah, you know who you are.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's cool. I don't know. Well, what was the most, do you have any most exciting memories of like just in life in general, the most exciting memories?
I have a lot of really fun memories, and like I remember as a teenager, like with Tony's dad and my dad, you know, our families, our parents being in the Lions Club, we used to have our Christmas party at the zoo, at the Western Plains Zoo every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one year we hired, like you had these tandem bikes where two of you could ride the one bike,
Mm-hmm.
and you know you'd go around the zoo on that, you know. And I just remember riding around everywhere on that and having heaps of fun, because you just ditch them, you know, and go and do your own stuff. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just really random memories of things that you did with your mates, and you know, that was just so random. And
I've always noticed. I haven't always noticed this, but I've noticed this a lot more as I'm getting to like, say, got to 20. That you are so easy at making friends. Like you actually know a lot of people. It's like,
oh, I don't feel that I do.
I feel
I've
like
only
you
got
definitely do.
I've only got a handful of close girlfriends.
Yeah.
You know, like I probably know a lot of people, but I only have, you know, a handful of very close girlfriends that, because I don't let everyone in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like into my heart type of thing.
Yeah.
So those that I do, you know, I cherish.
Yeah. I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
But even like your, say from the kids going to swimming, you're pretty familiar with all the mums from that.
Yeah.
The caravan park where Dad goes fishing, you're definitely familiar, and you have some of your close friends from there.
Yeah.
You knew all the wives and things like that.
Yeah.
You kind of knew all of our friends' mums growing up, and like it's just like
you sort
crazy.
of you sort of you know, you could take the lonely road, you know, when you have kids, and not get to know your kids' friends' parents, and do things on your own, or you can insert yourself, and that's where, you know, the shy kid sort of had to dissipate and, you know, and suck it up and make friends, you know. So
that's probably been a good example for me without even knowing it my whole life. You know, your ability to make friends definitely would have made a big impact on me being confident enough to make friends. And I think it's a good example because, like, I think a lot of girls don't have many friends. I don't know any girl that has a lot of friends.
Yeah.
A single one.
I reckon it's hard for girls to make friends. It's so much easier for guys.
Yeah.
Because they're not judgmental, you know.
Not
you know, not about the stuff that girls are judgmental about.
Yeah.
You know, like guys don't really care about appearances, you know, and that type of thing. Whereas you kind of feel judged by other girls because of what you're wearing and how your hair and makeup is, and all that. So yeah. And
I see it. Like I seen a TikTok. It described it perfectly the other day. It was like this panel. Like these guys must have been really educated speaking on this panel for some. Who knows what it was? Could have been a business. Could have been a charity. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the guy's saying, "What do you do in your free time?" The girl goes, "I heard there's a rumor that you're a bit of a computer nerd." And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, a little bit. Like I play a bit of this game. Could have been League of Legends, and this guy across from the panel goes, "Oh, you play League of Legends? What do you play as?" And he's like, "Oh, I play as a fucking blah blah blah." And he goes, "Oh, that's cool. I play as a blah blah blah." And he goes, "Oh, do you wanna?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then the caption was, "How best friends are created," you know, and that describes boys so perfectly.
Yeah.
Then you find the tiniest little thing in common, and then you're best mates.
Yeah.
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 Like, a lot of my friends are just friends because they're fridgies. Like, that's the only reason. And, like, I love them all. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one girl that is the main special one in my heart, and that's Tony, and everyone knows that nobody comes near her. You know, like, I don't know. She's my soulmate. You know, like Kashish was saying that
I call them both. I get them confused too.
I listened to her podcast, and she was saying how your soulmate doesn't particularly have to be your partner. It can be your best friend. And I honestly believe that we're soulmates, you know, like, just
as soon as you just said that, my soulmate, I remembered Kashish saying that.
And she is, like, you know, even last year when she told me that, you know, she got ovarian cancer, we just sobbed on the phone, going, I can't do this without you. You know, I'm going to get emotional, but
it's all right. I'll cut it out.
But yeah, I couldn't go through life without her. Like, you know, I can't even fathom not having her, because she's the one constant in my life. You know, with
definitely,
and you find that she gets me. Like, I've never felt that anyone, even you know, Anthony, to some respects, he never really understood me in a lot of ways that your girlfriend understands you, you know, like, so we always said that we were twins, you know, born because we were 12 days apart. We used to tell everyone, even when we went out when we were younger, we'd go to the Gosford Leagues Club, and everyone would be like, "Are you two related?" Because we're so similar, not in looks whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
But we're so similar in mannerisms and everything that we thought and did and drank and everything and ate, that, you know, and we'd go, yeah, we're twins. And they'd be like, "What?" Yeah, born 12 days apart. And then we'd go, "In 12 days' time, I'll look like her." Like, and, you know.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, because, she's the most special person to me ever. Ever.
That's so, you're actually so fortunate to have a friend like that. And I feel very grateful too. Like, I'm like that with Fossey, because me and Fossey can say we've been friends our entire lives because we were in the same mummy's group. We're
so weird.
Newborns. We didn't even know.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's something that a lot of people don't have. And I don't know many people who can ever experience that, you know?
Yeah.
Especially like the way you and Tony have hold a friendship forever. That's, people need that, you know?
Yeah.
I feel bad for people that don't have that, but it's important for people to find that.
Yeah.
Look for that.
And it's okay for other friends. Other friends come and go out of your life, you know, like, you have them in your life for as long as you need them. You know, it might be that, you know, they're a work friend and they help you get through work, and then you don't have to be friends with everyone forever, you know, but Tony's that person that, you know, we'll grow old together, you know, and because everyone's there for a reason, and sometimes their reason, once that reason is up, then the relationship just fizzles and the next person comes into your life, you know, like, everyone's there for an absolute reason.
Yeah.
And it's whether it's to educate you or you educate them, or, you know, get them through stuff or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard this quote that's like, some people aren't designed to be with you forever. Think of them as if like boosters on a rocket. You know, they're attached to you as you get to a certain altitude.
They can't keep up with you.
They don't. It's almost like, don't feel like they're any less of a person than you. They're just not designed to go to the places you're going.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's important, and it's good because like maybe I've probably met a lot of these people, and I have a lot of these people, but I struggle to like let go of my friends. You know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I try, and the only reason I guess I'm ever not friends with someone is 99% of the time is because they don't want to be friends with me anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's it. I love being friends with people. I don't understand how people just don't continue to have friends. And you and Dad both have done it. You and Dad both have friends. And I look at some of my friends' parents and I'm like, I don't know if they have friends, you know?
Yeah.
I remember, especially growing up, I felt like we always had people over our house. Always. Like, maybe a bit less in the last year or so.
Yeah.
Or 2-3 years, who knows? I guess ever since COVID, but
yeah.
someone was with us.
I know.
We've
people
always had at
drop
least
by.
7-8 people in the house. It's like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think maybe COVID changed a lot of stuff, you know, but it was always a home where anyone could drop by at any point.
Yeah.
You know, like we weren't the people that had to have people announce that you can't come over unless we know about it type of thing. I don't care. Just rock up. If we're here, we're here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because I feel like our house is so authentic too. Because if there's a clutter of shit, like I get everyone's house is a clutter of shit. We're just like, I don't know. For some people want to make sure everything's spotless before anyone comes over. You know, you can't. You have to make sure. But it's like, I guess everyone feels comfortable. Everyone's always felt comfortable coming into our house. Yeah. Yeah. 100% of the time.
Yeah.
What's it like when your kids start dating for the first time, like into relationships or things like that?
Oh, it's kind of well, I've only had you go through it. The other two haven't had the luxury of partners or anything, and it's kind of like, you know, almost like that giddy. Oh, he's got a girlfriend type thing. You know, like, you know, it's that sweet young innocent love.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. But never was like, oh no, he's got a girlfriend around, you know, like I never dreaded anything, you know, to do with having partners or anything. Like,
like, what about like, because was there ever, how big is the fear of like, say, teenage pregnancy or anything like that?
Huge.
Like, yeah, because I've always like, I don't know, I guess it's always been an option, you know? So, but you always gave me the freedom of, like, being able to sleep in the same bed as my girlfriend. Which
Not always.
Well, you didn't always give me the freedom, but I still did it. And that's what gave me the freedom, you know? But he was never like, that's it, never again, you're having a girl over. I do remember the first time he's catching, you know, because I think for the first 3 times, my girlfriend slept over, separate rooms. Yeah. And then it was like 100% of the times I'd be sleeping in that room anyway. I'd sneak back out at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Then the third time I'm like, I can't be bothered getting out of bed. I'm just going to deal with this.
Yeah. And and it was kind of like a safe place to be. Yeah. Like if you're going to sleep together, you might as well make it a safe place over your head. You know, like I wasn't going to, you know, run around and celebrate it or anything because, you know, the fear is there. But, you know, it's like, oh, I hope she is on the pill, you know, and I hope you're having safe sex type of thing. Yeah. And then I remember going in your room and seeing, remember that wire basket? And seeing it with heaps of condoms in there. Like, and it's like, yeah, I feel better now.
Yeah, I do remember that white basket actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've always been so grateful just for everything. I even remember getting drunk for the first time as a kid. It was just like, I don't know. I don't ever remember being punished for it, which made me never want to rebel, you know? I never wanted to rebel. I've never, ever wanted to rebel.
I think because I went through all that. Like, the first time I was drunk, Tony and I were 14. Yeah. You know, and got drunk went out with her parents and got drunk at a party out of town and had to stay the night. Like, we planned to sleep over at Tony's place. And all night for the first few hours, we just kept stealing beers and stashing them. Yeah. You know, and it was on a property. So they had like a little area that was like almost a little barn type thing. And we just kept on grabbing 2 beers at a time, going stash them. Then eventually we're like, all right, we've got enough. Now we're going to drink. And I remember her mum had to drive. She was so cranky in the car, Faye. And she was so cranky because not only was Tony's dad drunk, we were both drunk as well. So she had to drive us all back. Yeah. And you know, like we had lots of parties as kids, you know, and so it was pretty, like, not regular at 14, but, you know, the odd occasion at 14 and 15 and all that. But by 16, you were just drunk all the time. And the parents never knew. My parents never had a clue that I was drinking before I was 18.
Yeah.
You know? So by the time, you know, you kids are drinking, it's more like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what we did, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of parents, like, especially, like, going to the Christian school, a lot of parents were so, like, I don't know, I want to say hypocritical, you know, because it's like, God, yous were kids too, you know what I mean? I always knew it. I always knew it. It's like, what was wrong with you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember the first time Bernie got drunk. Do you remember that?
Me too. She reckons that wasn't the first time, but first time she had big drink.
First time she went to hospital for it, yeah.
And Joe Stubbs, shout out, hey Joe. And they had a party at one of her girlfriend's place, and I was in Orange with Kyle. He was at a swimming carnival, and Joe rang me, and she's like, what are you doing? And I went, oh, just going to bed. And she went, well, can you come pick your daughter up? And I went, no. I'm in Orange.
Yeah.
And you had your license. I think you were at Hawkesby show. And I said, oh, just give Jake a ring and he'll come and get her. And and she was so sick. And,
I remember getting there, and it's like, Jack, I don't know how to Joe saying, I don't know how to tell you this, but Bern's been drinking. I don't know who she got the alcohol off, right? I honestly have no idea. She was fucking plastered. Like, she was literally looked and act like someone with Down syndrome. Like, also with a bit of cerebral palsy. Like, she was just like going, no idea what was happening. Her eyes in the back of her head. And she was still talking and laughing. And I remember Joe's like, yeah, we're gonna take Bern to the hospital, honestly. She's blind. Oh, okay, I'll come with you. And then I remember driving with my girlfriend at the time and thinking, I bought her that alcohol. Because I remember she's like,
I dropped her at that party and I bought the alcohol.
I remember when your younger siblings ask you to buy them alcohol, you're always like, oh yeah, good work. I'm so proud of you for even asking, you know. Because I know they would have been so nervous to ask me. And then, like, I remember thinking to myself, like, you know what, Bern, I'll get her a full bottle of Jack Daniels. That way she can share it with everyone. They can do shots, you know. She has the bottle of alcohol, you know. The cool kid has the bottle of alcohol. And she was just drinking the fucking thing. She drank the whole bottle so quickly. Yeah. You know? She drank it in like an hour.
And vodka. They were doing Jim Beam and vodka shots. Yeah. Like, who does that?
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was... I don't know, that took me a bit of a lesson, I guess. Yeah, that was fun. It's been a while, so we've been going, but I need to do this segment with you that I love doing with people.
Sure.
Called Deep Questions. It's good because I reckon through most of these questions, I might not know what your answer will be.
Oh,
all right? So the first one that comes up is it possible to find true love in arranged marriages? How do you feel about that?
You probably can. Like, I know, like, the generation above us, there was a lot of arranged marriages with the immigrant culture and everything. And those people stayed together and you'd see them getting along as, you know, adults and everything. And I reckon if you're with someone that has the same values, then you probably can fall in love with them, you know? Yeah. You're
the only person that's ever sat across me and said that answer.
Oh.
Because that's my answer too.
Yeah.
I actually say that if it was like a possibility, I think I would rather choose an arranged marriage because I would have trust in you to find someone else who has a daughter.
Yeah.
Or a son. It's 2023. 2023, all right? No. All right. But it's like, it's almost like what's the chances of me finding someone that has the same values? It's so low, like especially living in a society where there is no culture. Yeah, there is and no one I know thinks the same. No one I know has the same values anymore. So it's like the world's too big. We're so connected through social media that it's like, how am I going to find someone that thinks the same?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like and they don't have to think the same. They just have to have the same values.
Same values. But you know, like, I think my values are
and it's about
weird.
People that you, like, whether you want to have kids and how you want to raise them, whether you've got a fun sense of humour and, you know, and you respect each other. You know, like
Yeah.
And but a lot of them, don't get me wrong, there's a lot that are controlled by the man, you know, and like the parents do it just because it's the thing to do, and they're not interested in finding you the love of your life.
Yeah.
It's like a family thing. Oh, we better find her a husband. Anyone will do.
Yeah.
So, you know, as long as he's, you know, got a job and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, might not be, you know, a suitable person, but I reckon there are ones that, you know, they work out because they're, you know, maybe not straight away, but as long as they've got the same values and all that, you know, it can.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, I love the idea of like being able to find someone and choose who you marry. It's awesome too. But
So, is this my challenge now to find you a bride?
they're fucking balls in your court. You know, right?
All right, I think I have someone in mind.
Yeah, all right, good. Well, I'm glad you said that because no one's ever agreed with me, and everyone else has always thought I was weird for having that answer. I don't care. I'm happy to be the weird guy. It doesn't bother me, but it's cool to know that you think like that too.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to start my own culture, and I'll do it.
Yeah. What do you think the world needs more of, love or truth?
Love.
Yeah, I'd say love too.
Yeah.
Truth is important, but I think love's more important.
But I think if you have love, you have truth.
Yeah, if you have enough love.
Yeah, like if you love someone, you won't lie to them.
Yeah.
You know, like it's all about love.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, everything comes back to love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think everyone would probably have that same response too. You pick truth, you might be a bit of a sociopath.
Yeah.
Even though I've probably gone back and forward between the two answers, probably about 5 times.
You're probably a sad sack if you say truth. Yeah. You've been hurt a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. What are 2 things that always give you peace of mind?
The rain.
The rain.
Yep.
Okay.
Because, you know, in a like a thunderstorm, it's a dark, stormy night.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody breaks in. The robbers aren't out there in the rain.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I used to always feel safe on a dark, like, because Dad used to go down the caravan a lot. So, you know, fishing for the weekend and all that. And, if he was away and it was a rainy night, it was my safest.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, then I'll think of one too, actually. We'll go back and forth between it. I think I always feel peace of mind. I reckon, I guess getting back into my own bed. You know what I mean? When I finally get back into my own bed.
Yeah.
Like, say, now that I'm living away, it's like you never have that full peace of mind. You're always on a mission.
Yeah.
Like, go to sleep knowing I have to wake up
as
soon as I open my eyes and get back into the race. But then when I finally come home on a fucking weekend and I just get to sleep in my own bed, it's like, oh, I made it.
Yeah.
I made it home. I'm safe.
Yeah.
It's always been a safe spot.
Yeah. Well, that's very similar to what my other response was. It's when, like, you guys all go out, you know, one of you goes out, you all go out, and all of you come home at the end of the night, and I'm in bed, and I know you're all home safe in bed.
Yeah.
Like, that is so peace of mind for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, job done.
Yeah.
I can sleep. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I reckon, all right, now I've got to think of another one. I reckon I always get peace of mind. It's an easy one, actually, for me for work. When you're packing up at the end of a job, that's easy. Like, you're like, thank fuck. Every job, you're like, this is over. Thank God. You know, I've made it, you know. I guess that's a good feeling. Because the entire time you're on a job, you're just thinking, is this going to get done on time?
Yeah.
Am I going to fucking have to deal with the consequences if it doesn't? Packing up your tools is such a good feeling. Oh, God, it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, can I ask a question? Can I have one?
You can ask.
What is your worst day of the week and why?
Would have to be... I don't have one. I like every day.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd have to say Saturday. Which is a weird thing because it's like Saturdays are for the boys. I love seeing the boys on Saturday, but like I never feel like I have enough time on a Saturday. It's my only day where I'm always stressed. I'm always like, I cannot get done everything I want to do for me and everything I want to get done for everyone else.
So you're most stressed on a Saturday?
Yeah. Yeah. How about you?
Thursday.
Why?
Because we get paid on a Wednesday, and it's so on Thursday. It's so long till payday.
Oh yeah.
Like
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, like every Thursday, it's like, oh, now I have to wait another week. You know, like Wednesday, you still got it coming in your bank account at night time. You know, and Thursday, you got your money. And you still got to go to work, you know, like, so, and then you got to wait a whole week to get that reward again. You know?
I had to wait a fortnight for 5 years to get paid.
I was in a job when I became administration manager at Kmart. I got paid monthly.
Oh my God.
On the 15th of the month.
Oh my God.
You'd live like a queen for the first week.
Yeah.
The second and third week, you'd be like, oh, I better start watching my money. By the fourth week, it's like, oh my God, how long till payday?
That was me at the last company I was at. I'd live like a king for like 2 days, and then I'd be fucked for 12. I have nothing left.
Yeah.
12 days. Yeah, that was good times. I really learned how to stretch existence out back then. Like, I had no food, no money, no cigarettes, because I smoked cigarettes back then. And somehow I had what I needed for 12 days. It was awesome.
Yeah, you'd get through 12 days. Yeah.
Good answers, but yeah, I like that. But yeah, now that I think about it, I'd say definitely Saturday. It's the most stressful day.
Yeah.
If you could live someone else's life for one day, who would it be and why?
Someone else's. Oh man, that's a hard question.
I'll go first because you've been going first for a bit. I think I'd rather live someone's life like it'd have to be either someone who lives in like Africa or the Amazon rainforest or something, just to see the difference, you know, like, I don't know, because they don't even fucking have anything, like, you know what I mean? They're like hunting animals still some places in the Amazon rainforest. That would be crazy to experience. And if it wasn't that, I'd say probably even like a rice farmer or someone, you know, a farmer. I definitely want to live like a farmer for 24 hours, like a proper farmer that has like milk, you know, processes milk, and they have fucking horses and all that shit. Definitely, I'd choose that.
I'd probably wouldn't want to live the life of someone rich, you know, because man, that would be the hardest day to give up ever. You know, like, you know, it'd probably be like a mum with 13 kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
yeah, that'd be cool.
Just with kids climbing all over you and carrying the baby around and, you know, getting the other ones off to school and, you know, like, you know, even like a 70s or 80s mum, you know, without the modern day luxuries, but yeah, that'd
be cool.
Like
only me one day.
Yeah.
Only me one day. Yeah. Nice. I like that answer. I've had a couple of these ones before, and they're not most interesting questions, but what do you think is the right age to get married?
I think I'm going to have to go with Beth's rule.
Yeah, that's my answer too.
Yeah, and do 27.
Yeah. I think it's a perfect age, eh?
Yeah.
I've said it on here so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
27, 28, you know? Yeah.
I like it too. And it's funny because no one has been married before 27, have they?
No.
In our family.
No.
At all. In both families combined. Which is pretty cool.
I think my mum might have been 24 when she got married. Mm-hmm. But my dad was 27.
Yeah. I guess they kind of cheated their way in. Yeah, nice. If you could fix one problem in the world, what would it be?
One problem. It would probably be bullying.
Bullying, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
what about growing up? Was that a thing?
Oh, not really.
Not really?
No, you just... you had a few groups where there were some roughies and, you know, they probably were your modern day bully where they'd want to bash your head in, you know, and whether it happened or not, you know, you might have a punch on down the park. I never got into any actual fights or anything, but, you know, a few friends sort of went through that, but, it wasn't really that bad. Like you did tease, you know, the kid in class that had the knits in their hair and, you know.
Yeah, as you should.
And that type of thing. But, I think it's much more predominant today especially because of the online stuff where, you know, people target people and, you know, and people suicide over it, you know. I think just for people to be, you don't have to be nice to people. You don't have to be awful to them. You know, just coexist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I know the online bullying thing, as I'm getting older, I don't know if I'm just forgetting it, but it's almost like it doesn't really exist as much as everyone thinks it exists for kids going through it. I think it's so much bigger in the kid's head, you know.
And I think it's more an American thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think in Australia we have it to the extent that they do that you see on TV.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, we definitely do have it, you know, because there has been, you know, a lot of kids suiciding in Australia over it, you know, so that's pretty sad, you know, when it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, of course. Bullying's a fucking good answer. Jesus Christ. I don't know what I'd do. I hate bullying. I hate it. It's my... Oh, to be honest, if I go out and I see someone bullying someone else like that, there's nothing that would fire me up more. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it more than anything. But if I was to fix one problem, and since you already taken the best answer, I'm going to have to think of something else. I think it would probably be... I'd say self-conscious, like not self-consciousness, but like people being fearful of, I guess it would be not believing in yourself, you know, being worried about what other people are going to think. Like, I guess self-conscious is the right way to say it, because it can come under any form where it's like, I don't want people to judge me for doing something that I want to do. I think a lot of people are scared. Even last night, I was talking to someone when I went out about he wants to start posting certain videos and stuff, and he's like, it's scary. Like, he was talking to me about the pod, and he's like, it's awesome to see you doing it because it takes courage, and it's like, I don't know if it really takes courage. Like, you kind of, if you want to do it, you have to do it. You just don't think about it. It's not courage not to think about it. And so, like, I'm sitting here going, oh, God, I got to post this. Yeah, oh, come on, Doxey, you can do it. You can post this video.
Yeah, like, it doesn't give you anxiety.
Yeah, you just have to not think about the fact that, like, people are going to judge it. You know, and I think a lot of people suffer from that. A lot of people are always so self-conscious about what other people are going to think. And it stops them from doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
I'd pick that one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nice.
Nice. Do you think someone's outward appearance says anything about who they are?
Not really. No, not really. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would disagree, and I think I would have said what you said most episodes before.
Yeah.
But recently I'm starting to think yes. I think someone's outward appearance does say something about who they are. I think that it doesn't say what you think about that person. You know, I think that you look at someone and you judge them based on what they look like, but that's not true. But that person is actually what they are personing themselves to be. Is that the word? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, say, for example, someone is... Personifying, yeah. I don't know how to use an example for it, but say someone is example with tattoos, like myself, right?
Yeah.
It's like you have people who probably looks at that person like he's stupid, not gonna fucking get a job, like probably like dangerous, you know, who knows, but that's not the right thing. But when you get to know me, you learn that I'm expressive, I fucking think it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
So it really is saying a lot about a person, but it's not how the other person is perceiving it to be.
Yeah.
You know, I think so. I think that would be right, how I'd say it.
Yeah. I think at first glance you get an opinion of someone, but then, like, I think the more you get older, you sort of know that, all right, he might look like a big tough bikey, but I bet he's a teddy bear.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, you sort of don't worry about the stuff like that, you know? Yeah. Because, people just wear and put, you know, makeup on and appearances to hide stuff, or, you know, to show certain things. They want to look like a tough guy, but they're not. Yeah. You know, and
definitely.
Yeah.
I know some big motherfucking guys, and they're like, they put on this act like they're tough guy, you know, but it's like, he's just doing that because he is a big guy. He's actually the sweetest guy. Yeah. Nice. All right, we'll do a few more. Would you rather be unique or normal?
Normal.
God damn. Yeah, wow. Yeah, okay. Didn't expect to have that answer. Yeah, all right.
I'm not one that wants to stand out in the crowd. You know, like I just want to go with the flow and just blend in. But, you know, I don't want to be unique enough. I'm not an attention seeker where I want to be unique to stand out. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Everyone look at me. 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 I'd rather be unique any day of the week. Well. All right, what do you want more than anything else in life?
Security.
Security.
From this point on, security of having enough money for the future. You know, like, I think that's really important because I probably haven't started early enough. It's like, oh shit. Hey, I've only got like 12 years to retirement age, you know, and like I would have loved to have been financially secure enough to retire in the next few years or now. Like I think I'm ready to retire, but financially, no, I'm not anywhere near ready.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Nice. I'd say it's not an issue for me at all. I think money, I don't know, it should be. A lot of people at my age have that understanding now that like you have to, it is so important, but it's like, I don't know, I've always had, even though now I am saving and I'm proud that how much I'm able to save and stop spending, but it's like I still have the mindset that's like, I'm going to get more money next week. I don't care. I've still got that mindset. That's why I was happy to spend it my whole life because like I'm going to get more. Who cares? But now I'm starting to think to myself like, all right, but I don't want to have more money coming in next week. I don't want to have to earn more money coming in next week. Yeah. I want to have money coming in next week without earning it. Yeah. Yeah. And so now I'm starting to get it. Yeah. But it's still not anywhere near the most important for me. Yeah. I'd say what I would want is, I reckon, kids. I want kids more than I want a wife. You know? I do.
I know, that worries me.
I just don't care.
I know when you're paying like 12 different ladies child support because you're always going to be poor.
Well, I have a plan. Trust me, I have a plan. Yeah. My plan is if anyone else has the same idea, like you can copy it if you want, but my plan is, say you have 5 different kids and it just happens to be with 5 different women, right? Or even you have 3 with one, 2 with another. So you're paying like a lot of money, or most of your money in child support. And you just have enough to be able to plan a future with the crumbs you have left. It's like, say you have another kid, another 2 kids, whatever. Then all of a sudden you're like, all right, everyone, you're going to have to get a little bit less each because, you know, there's more children now. And I do believe that I'm always going to be fair. This is a hypothetical. All right, let me defend myself. This is a hypothetical situation. Maybe this isn't right. Hypothetically, if you have 5 child supports and then now you have to pay 7, you make a little bit less for each one. And you make do with what you've got. And then all of a sudden, all of the baby mamas, if there's 7 of them, are like, nah, fuck that. We want everything. We're going to take all your money. We're going to take this, that. Then I will just be like, all right, fine. I will never work another day in my life and you will get nothing. All right? Do you just want that? This is on you. You either have what I can afford to share or nothing, because I can't have nothing. You know, if I'm going to have nothing, no one gets anything.
So, but don't get me wrong. When you have a kid and you got to pay child support, right? You got to pay child support for 18 years. Mm-hmm. If you're planning on having 10 kids, do you think they're all going to be in that same year? Like,
it would be handy.
So what if there's 10 years? What if there's 10 years between all those kids? You're paying child support for 28 years.
Well, I don't believe in it. I believe that it's a law that you have to pay child support till the kid's 18, but it's like, realistically, you shouldn't have to be paying child support from when the kid's 14. Why would I be giving another woman money when the kid's 14, when the kid can ask me for money when he needs money? Say he drops out of school and he's working by 15, all right? Why am I going to be giving the mum money for the kid? If the mum needs money for any financial assistance, that's a different story to having to give someone hundreds of dollars a week while the kid's working. The kid's out of school.
I think I need to find you a wife.
But Like, but it's like I'm never gonna do that. I'm never going to be a victim to this way of control that I think that a lot of toxic women have over a man who got them pregnant. They literally do you know Kim Kardashian gets paid $200,000 a week or a month in child support from Kanye West for each kid.
Yeah, because it's based on the income that the bloke.
But Kim Kardashian is like 100 millionaire.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I get it. The law is in place for the shit situations.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that they can work something out. You know what I mean? Like
I'm sure that's a bit excessive.
This is where you need love more than you need truth. You know what I mean? Like you need the truth is there for the shit situations.
Well, this is where you have to find the person and have lots of babies with the one person.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. How good would that be? But like, fuck me, I'd love to win the lotto as well. You know what I mean? Like 12 kids is a lot of pressure to put on a woman. It's a lot of pressure. I don't know. I might have to convert at some point. I might have to find a religious girl or something. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say kids. Kids is my answer. That.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the question again?
Yeah, what's the most important thing to you?
Yeah, yeah.
That was the question.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, if I had to add another one, it would be that you guys are all happy.
Yeah.
You know, like whether it be in a relationship with friends, you know, like I want you all to go and find love, you know, and experience love because love's awesome.
Yeah. Love is the best.
Yeah.
Love's the
like
best.
when you're first in that love zone.
First love though is always like the funnest.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I haven't had my longest love. I can't say that yet.
When you're first in a relationship, those first few years are just so innocent and pure and, you know, like just, Yeah,
I'm with you 100%. And it's like I've probably been in love. Honestly, I would consider my girlfriends in primary school to be love. I would think it's all the same. I don't think it's any different. And yeah, I love it when I'm in it. But then when I'm not in it, I'm like, whatever.
And it doesn't matter if you get your heart broken because while you're in love, that's the best feeling.
Yeah, it's worth it. 100%.
You know, if it doesn't work out in the end, it doesn't work out. You know, but that feeling of being in love is always the best. Yeah, you know, it's worth the risk of getting hurt.
100%.
Yeah,
I heard this thing recently that's like, it wasn't recently, it was a while ago, but I talked about it recently. Where it's like, if you really do love someone, you shouldn't just want to be with them because you want them. You love them enough that they want to be with whoever they want to be with. So if they want to break up with you, if you love them truly, you're almost happy that they're now doing what they want to do and they're with someone else, you know, or even if they want to be by themselves. Sorry
to see you go, but I just want you to be happy.
Yeah, you know? And that has helped me a lot through my life.
You can't be miserable in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, or one happy and one miserable, you know.
Not a hostage. I think that's important. No, a lot of people don't think like that. I don't know. Maybe because I've been through heartbreak and shit, it's easier for me to comment on it. A lot of people haven't. But it's like when someone leaves, it's like, you should be happy for that person if you love them. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, what are you fucking... Yeah. I get it sucks, but fuck, get over it. You know? Get over it. Yeah. The next question is, how do you overcome anxiety?
Well, I've got this thing where I control it. Mm-hmm. So, because if I don't control my anxiety, I get these things called migraine auras, which are a migraine headache. Like so an aura is having a migraine headache, but without the pain of the headache. So it's the symptoms of a migraine without the headache. So odd. So under really stressful or anxiety situations, I've had these episodes where I'll lose speech or I'll lose thought or, you know, different things. And I've ended up going to hospital before for it. Mm-hmm. And they think it's similar to a stroke. Like it looks like a stroke, but I've had testing and all that. And it's migraine auras that I suffer from. And they're brought on by anxiety or stress. But now I can feel it happening in my chest. And it's all about breathing and changing what you think, how you're thinking. Mm-hmm. Like instead of thinking about whatever's giving you that anxiety, like don't think about it. Mm-hmm. You know, just think about keeping calm and relaxing and, you know, put your focus on something else because you're not going to change anything while you're stressing about it.
Yeah.
You know, so I can control. I used to go to work. I used to drive to work, and I'd start thinking about work while I'm driving along, and I'd get heart palpitations, and it's like, oh, this isn't normal behaviour.
Yeah.
And I knew it was when I thought about work. So I don't think about work going to work. You know, like it's all about changing what you're thinking about. And if I start to get anxiety about something, you just think about calming down. There's a few times where I can't, and I have a full-blown migraine aura and have to take aspirin and calm down and
that's crazy.
Almost have a panic attack.
Yeah.
You know, but I've got a couple of people at work that help me, you know, and talk you down. It's almost like you need to blow in a paper bag and, you know, and just calm yourself, you know. But, yeah, it's all about controlling your anxiety in that way. Yeah.
Wow, I've never even heard of migraine auras.
Yeah, neither had I until it happened to me.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I get it is all about controlling it. I've never really suffered from anxiety. Like I know what it feels like, but the only way I can say I know what it feels like is it's like I know what it feels like to be anxious to do something. Like say I want to say something in front of a group of people at work or in front of friends, or say I got to give a speech at something. Like I feel anxious to do it where I don't. But then what helps me is I just say to myself right before I'm about to do it, pretend like you're the person who can do it. I'm just like, let's just act. It's like an acting class. Let's act like I'm the confident person.
Yeah.
And then I can just fucking pretend like I'm the confident person. I just pretend I'm the guy who does it without question.
Yeah.
So and then I just do it without question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say I just act.
Yeah. And you got to think, like I remember Bernie having a big anxiety attack on her first day of TAFE. And she caught the bus there. She had an orientation for a week. And then when she had to go and do it all for real and on her own, the first day there, she caught like the bus and the train or whatever. And she was on the train crying. She got there and she had a full-blown anxiety attack. And we went and saw her psychologist, Megan, and she just reasons with her about it and says, what was the worst that was going to happen? You weren't going to die. So what was the worst that was going to happen? You know, and as long as you get that in your head that the worst is never going to happen. The worst is you die.
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen. You're not just because
the worst
you go
is
to
everyone else dies and you watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because you go to TAFE, you're not going to die because you went to TAFE.
Yeah.
You know, unless, you know, the worst happened.
Suicide.
But
Suicide bomber.
But you know, like
We had a guy
speech.
in our TAFE and I reckon he could have been a fucking suicide bomber. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so as long as you go, okay, what's the worst that could possibly happen to me? And if that's your worst thing, then that's never going to happen, you know? So you just got to reason with all the bad things. Why am I so anxious? What's the bad things that are going to happen about this? You know, I'm going to fail, I'm going to embarrass myself and all that. And but you just reason with yourself about every point that it's going to be okay.
Yeah. What is the worst thing that's going to happen? Straight up. I'm going to say the wrong thing.
Like, I embarrass myself. Does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to remember.
Yeah.
Like, and you got to say that nobody cares. Like, you know, you might care, but when you put it down to those people don't care because half of them are thinking the same, you know, like.
Yeah. Someone said to me one time that, like, whenever you're in a group of people and you feel self-conscious or you're wondering if everyone's looking at you or you're wondering what they're thinking of you, that's just because every other person's thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
No one cares about you.
Yeah, that's right. Like, nobody cares.
That's one of the best feelings of realizing that no one cares about you. You're like, oh, good.
Yeah,
I can
and it's
just
like,
do me,
yeah. It's like, oh, nobody cared. Like, yeah.
That was the best feeling.
And nobody noticed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, cool. I like that. I'm going to find one more.
Sure.
And then I have one more question I'm going to ask you, but it's not in this. So, I'll find a good one. This is a good one. Are you more aware of other people's strengths or weaknesses?
Oh.
I'll answer this one first. You've been answering first for a while. I'd say I'm definitely more aware in the moment of someone's weaknesses. I definitely am. But then if I was to think about that person, I would think of their strengths. You know, if I'm with someone, I'm not usually thinking about I'm not noticing their strengths. I'm noticing like not what I would consider to be their weaknesses, what they're considering to be their own weaknesses. You know, maybe it's just because people are more comfortable talking about their weaknesses than they are their accomplishments. Because that's what I'm definitely like. I'd rather talk about things that I want to get better. But I feel like I notice people's weaknesses more. But then when I think of that person, every time I think of them, I just think of everything they're good at. You know, I'd say maybe I'd probably that. That'd be my answer.
What if my answer was I don't care enough about people?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
I think until you get to know someone, you sort of see their strengths, and then when you get to know someone, then you know their weaknesses.
That's true. That's true.
So then you know, yeah, you know what? You meet this guy, right? And you think, man, that guy can talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on you go, well, that's his weakness. Because he doesn't stop talking.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Their strength become their weaknesses.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say, I don't know, maybe I do notice people's weaknesses, and they do pop up a lot in my head when I'm talking to someone, like when I'm meeting someone new. But that's what makes me familiar with someone. I just feel, oh, fuck yeah, we kind of like, you like me, you know, fuck yeah. You're dealing with the same fucking feelings I'm feeling with. But then when I get to know, I'm the opposite, I think. When I get to know them more, I realize I really do notice their strengths.
Yeah.
So I first notice people's weaknesses, but it's not a judgment. It's like, oh, thank fuck. This can't suck me, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that answer. All right, well, I have one final question that I do ask everyone that comes on. But before I do ask you, I have to say thank you very much for doing this episode with me.
That was fun.
It was fun, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been excited to do it for a long time. I wanted to wait until I had the new setup, but I figured I'd rather have you on now to do this setup. That way you can experience the new setup.
Yeah.
So you get to experience both.
Yeah. So what episode number am I going to be?
49.
Or nearly the magic 50.
Yeah, no, I've already had to play in 50. 50 is a swap cast, so someone has to come back and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, the final question I ask, which is I do ask everyone, it's just in case someone listening might just hear a certain way someone says it that registers with them. But what would you give advice to someone if they came for some because they were feeling lost, mostly because they were feeling depressed? What advice would you give them?
Talk to someone. Talk. So long as you keep communicating, you'll be okay. It's when you're not talking to someone that nobody has any idea. Like, you know, we've both been in that situation where, you know, people have bottled it up and you wouldn't have a clue, and then the worst happens, you know. But I think if you tell the person to always talk about your problem, whatever is the problem, everybody is there to help, you know, like whether it's me, you know, a stranger, you know, your parents, your siblings, your best friend, but all you have to do is talk about it. And talking about it makes you reason about things, you know, like it's like once you talk about it and get it out of your head, it doesn't seem like that big an issue because people have given you, but don't think about it like that. Think about it like this, you know, and how important you are, and everyone's important, you know. Everyone thinks that, oh, you know, I'm better off not being here, you know, when it comes to being depressed and suicide, especially, that everyone would be better off without me. But nobody's better off. Like the damage that you left behind wasn't, you would never have wanted that, and you could have saw it.
And you could have never caused that while you were alive. You could have never caused a lifetime of hurt people, no matter what you did.
You just wanted to stop your hurt. But you were never going to stop other people hurting. You know, so why not fix your hurt? And then, you know, everyone, you know, will not have to go through the pain. Because it's awful. It
is the best answer, to be honest, talking about it. It's always the best. I hear a lot of different answers. It's so cool. Everyone's answers is always so different too. Everyone's got everyone has. No one has ever said the same answer as someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but talking about it is so true. And I'm gonna start asking people more. Is there anything that you're not talking about? You know, because you're right. When it's in your own head, it's the biggest problem in the world. As soon as you get it out, then people are there to help fix your problem.
Yeah.
It's the same concept of like law of attraction or the Bible verse asking you shall receive. Like, because you kind of not just attracting things you do want. You're going out, you're chucking out the things you don't want so they can get fixed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Good answer. I love it. Beautiful answer. Beautiful episode. Thank
Lovely.
you. Yeah.
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 Yeah. That was awesome.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel? Did you feel any nerves in the beginning or no? Because you didn't look like it.
I probably tried to relax more into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it was like, yeah, let's do it. What's going to happen? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't feel any chest palpitations?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, nice. I thought you would have been a little bit
Because
nervous. I didn't know that.
I think if you think about it, you make yourself nervous. So it's like, all right, let's do it. Don't think about it.
Yeah.
You know, just get it done.
Yeah.
Have like a plan, and you know, like, I mean, I can't plan for your questions type of thing. But if you've got to go and do something that makes you nervous, you just got to plan it in your head and be as prepared as you can be. Like if you had to give a speech, know exactly what you're talking about. Like you can't give a speech on something that you don't know about, because then you're going to be nervous and be like unsure, and you know, then it's all going to fall apart. But the most confident thing, you know, like you can talk about something that you have complete confidence in. So it's like, I know what you're doing is, you know, you're confident in it, so you make everyone relaxed, you know. So
it's like, how can you be any less confident? The one thing you should be able to talk about is yourself. You know what I mean? I'm not going to question you on random shit. Yeah.
And I think having you go through part of my life with, like, you experienced it, so it was more like we would just remember memories, you know? Like,
Yeah. I loved it. I've always wanted to do it. I'm glad you've done it for the first time, but we'll do it again.
Yeah. No worries. Maybe we can do a swap cast for episode 70, 80.
Yeah. Done. Yeah. Good idea. Good idea. All right. Beautiful. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks, Jakey.
All right.
Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stunt.